short. What are we at? Like, I think we're at 189. We're just one short of 190 at this point, and it's been growing very, very nicely. So here's the thing, right? VW didn't want to get left out. So if you've been anywhere else and not been on our channel recently, what you may have missed or may not have missed is that they've been eagerly trying to play Tesla in this marketplace with their battery days. They have their ID.X 4, right? Now they have the actual ID.4 and the ID.3. So here's just some pictures to share with you. This is the base model ID.3, and it's a pretty car. By no stretch of the imagination is this ugly. And where this really speaks to me in this area is that I have a Volkswagen GTI, and it's this is basically the EV version of what's going to be the future of the Volkswagen GTI. They're not hiding it. This is exactly what it looks like. It's the same look of the car, basically around every corner. This is the future of the GTI, right? Wonderful.
Yeah.
But they couldn't just leave that alone, and I'm kind of happy that they didn't, because in all intents and purposes, I would love to get myself a Golf R, which would be the next step up from the evolution of the GTI in its current form. So, not to be outdone, Volkswagen has decided that in their infinite wisdom, they need a new model to showcase their EV future, and that would be they're what they're calling, and this is kind of interesting because I don't get the exact reason why they're calling it this yet, but they're calling it the ID.X. Okay, so this is the ID.X, and it's based off the ID.3. However, they immediately jumped out, according to Auto Week, and they said it's 440 pounds lighter than the ID.4, okay, which is their bigger version of their EV baseline, okay, and it has a drift mode.
Yep.
So I'm kind of at this point, and it looks like dollar for dollar, like what is going to be the Golf R version of our EV future. It's beautiful, gorgeous inside. They're going with the bright neon. It looks like yellow highlights, which is normally a place reserved for in the GTI that's usually red, and the Golf R that's usually blue. And they're saying that right now that adding it can hit 62 miles an hour in 5.3 seconds, which is right on line with where the Golf R is, maybe the GTI, right in between, so it's going to blur that line of performance, right? They're saying that it's going to output basically 329 horsepower, 27 more than the GTX, okay? And the new drift mode is actually based off the Golf Rs. So I am actually excited because this is actually the first, I would say to me, the first EV that I look out that's outside of a Tesla lineup, that if they had this today, I would go purchase it. The problem is, it's probably never going to make it to America, because all the great stuff stays in Europe when it comes to this automotive group. We don't get it. So now here's the thing. For you as a Tesla Model 3 owner, does this car appeal to you at all?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Part of full disclosure too, I've liked Teslas before I was able to get one, but
Right.
I ended up getting a 3. Reserved it sight unseen, but then obviously did a lot of research when we knew more about it, and then did end up getting one. But you remember, man, I was looking at other stuff.
Oh,
tons
yeah,
of other
I remember.
stuff. Petrol cars. I was looking at GT350 at the time. I was looking at different things. So I'm happy to look at other stuff. But anyway, looking at this though, yeah, I'm curious probably about wheelbase. It's probably similar to the current GTRs, Golf R. So that's something, an idea there. But I mean, the whole 0 to 60 miles an hour in 5.3, that's basically my car, right? I have the rear wheel drive single motor long range Tesla Model 3, so it's a little bit earlier version of the Model 3. That's literally about the same kind of acceleration.
Sure.
I know from your car it handles quite well. My car handles quite well. Yeah, I know this is interesting to me. I'd be curious knowing a bit again about EVs too, right? My next question obviously goes straight to how much battery range we're talking.
Right.
And then next question related to obviously performance, how much does the whole thing weigh? So but yeah, but as you were talking, literally that's the next thing I was gonna say. It was like, hey Mike, is this thing gonna come to America or not?
Probably not. That's the hardest part to accept, right? This to me, look, I like VWs. I like the fact that for having an average road going car that can be performance based, and I say only performance based, that it's not a performance car. It is basically a muscled up hatchback, right? And look, it's enjoyable to drive, and that has been one of the grand features of a GTI, and it looks like they want to keep that same sporty tradition going on through their EV lineup, which is good because for them, that is part of their branding and their showcasing of what their brand can do. If you can't afford the Audi, just get the VW version because it'll do roughly the same. And if you can't afford the Porsche, just get the Audi because it'll do about the same, right? So all along the line, and I don't need hypercar performance because, like you said earlier with the Tesla Roadster, there's not a place here where I could explore that safely and in good conscience know that I'm going to survive, right? But with an ID.X, okay, with this particular vehicle, and look, it's a handsome car based off the ID.3. It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, but I could drive that on the daily. Now, would I rather have a Tesla Model 3 performance version? Well, look, you're also talking, if this comes out for roughly $42,000 in Europe, because we already said it's probably not coming to America, right?
At that price point, it's cheaper than a dual motor Model 3.
Yes,
right?
that is correct.
So, yeah.
I would be interested to see how that really shapes for their marketplace. Because look, out of all the other manufacturers right now that have really, really impressed me with what they've put out in the EV field, and it's the Volkswagen Group by far that I think has the best tempo to keep up with Tesla, because they started with the Taycan and then of course they named Taycan Turbo, but whatever. Okay, they did do a double take on making that the next Audi, but it seems to me that the way that they're going about their EV lineup is probably the most considerate towards trying to make an impact at not playing catch up with Tesla and giving you the things like the ID.4, which is more of an SUV, mid family size with good range and good features, right?
And let's not forget the stuff we talked about as far as VW also getting their pipeline going, right?
Yeah.
Their battery pipeline, their factories, right? That's a whole nother thing to the whole nother facet to this EV market that's really coming into its own in the last few years. Is supply chain. Not to be overshadowed by all the shortages we have going on now, but regardless, VW's looking further out, and it's nice to see.
Now here would be the bad part for VW. They can't afford to miss the mark on their EV targets, because if they do, Dieselgate will come right back and slap them right in the face. They've already had too much bad press with all the diesels that didn't actually make the performance marks that they said, especially in their range. So if you think you had range anxiety in a diesel, well, you're going to probably have twice the range anxiety in a Volkswagen if it doesn't perform in the EV values that they say. So I hope that they get that all squared away and they don't have to hit that as a problem. But otherwise, I'm fairly impressed. Teased at the same time. Let's see if it ever makes it to American shores. Who knows? That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, same. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with it. But again, I don't know if I'll ever see it over here stateside. So
may never see it. So anyhow, remember, folks, if you'd like to see more content like this, like, subscribe, and follow. And Corey's going to take us down the road of, well,